Greetings, Earthlings. Today I'm back with a review of some sort of USB microphone thing. So for this, the microphone will be set directly on the desk in front of me, and the microphone we are looking at is the Cyber Acoustics Tahoe, or the Rainer CVL-2006. I honestly have no idea what this thing is called. It goes by so many different names. Now for this review, the gain on the Mac is set at 100%, and the gain on the microphone is set at maybe 25 or 30%. I don't really know, but I won't be doing any post-processing, compression, or EQ, but I will likely boost it in post, so check the doobly-doo. Now let's talk about what comes in the box. Dang it. Obviously, you're going to get the microphone. You get a built-in desktop microphone stand. You get a provided foam windscreen, you get a 1.5 meter cable, and you get some documentation. As far as the build quality, this thing just feels fine. It does have an all-metal body. It does have a fairly sturdy feeling metal mesh grill, but the stand, on the other hand, feels pretty flimsy. You can just bend it all sorts of ways, and it just doesn't feel very good. On the front of the microphone, you're going to find the headphone volume control, which controls the computer's playback as well as the zero latency monitoring. You'll also find the microphone gain control, which will allow you to adjust the microphone's gain. And then at the bottom, you have this blue LED light just to let you know it's plugged in and getting power. Unfortunately, it's not an indicator light to let you know if you're clipping or what level you're getting. It is only an indicator light to let you know you're getting power. On the back of the microphone, you'll just find a single button to switch between cardioid and omnidirectional polar patterns. On the bottom, you're going to find a USB port to connect it to your computer, and then you'll find a 3.5mm headphone jack, which does offer latency-free monitoring, but you aren't able to shut off the zero latency monitoring. It is permanently on, and you can't adjust what levels you're getting between your computer and the zero latency. It's all set in stone here. And then you'll find some stand threading that isn't even a standard microphone stand size, which would be 3/8 or 5/8. This threading is 1/4 inch, which is going to be the standard camera mount. So if you want to mount this to a microphone stand, you're going to have to get a 5/8 to 1/4 inch adapter. That's dumb. Now, as far as specs, this thing has a cardioid or omnidirectional polar pattern. It has a frequency response of 20 Hz to 20 kHz, a max SPL of 124 decibels, a signal-to-noise ratio of 121 dB, a bit depth of 16-bit, and a sampling rate of up to 48 kHz. So I still have it on top of the box, and currently on cardioid mode, but I'll switch over to omnidirectional mode, and this is how it sounds. Sounds pretty bad. So much background noise and so much. That's what the microphone sounds like. Now I'm on the cardioid polar pattern, spinning around the microphone to 90 degrees to see the off-axis coloration, the rear rejection and rear coloration, back around to 90 degrees on the front, and now we are back at 0 degrees. And now I'm on omnidirectional, and you shouldn't hear any change between the tone in my voice as we move around the microphone's capsule. Now I'll type in on a keyboard with Cherry MX Blues to see how much of my voice versus how much of the keyboard it picks up. And I'm sure you could guess this is why having a microphone set directly in our desk is a bad idea. About 1 foot away from the microphone, about 2 feet away from the microphone, and about 4 feet away from the microphone. Okay, now I'm speaking into the microphone connected directly to a Windows 10 PC. The Windows input gain is set at 100%. The gain on the microphone is still at around 25%. And this is how the audio is sounding. Right now, my microphone's gain is set at around 25%. The computer's gain is at 100. I'll drop it down to 0 and slowly increase it so you can hear the noise generated by this preamp and A to D converter. 25%. 50%. 75%. 100%. So since this doesn't have a standard mounting system, I'm just going to leave this directly on my desk and play acoustic and sing so you can hear how it fits in this scenario. So I tried recording this thing with open back headphones with it set directly on my desk, and I couldn't get a good mix between my vocals and the acoustic, so I'm setting it on top of the box that it came on to get it closer to my mouth and hopefully get a better mix between the instrument. instruments, guitar and voice.
Why would you put quarter-inch threadings on a microphone without including an adapter at all?
Well, this one was a rough one. Jesus. In terms of pros, it does have zero latency monitoring, which is always a good thing. But that's where the pros end. In terms of cons, tonally, this microphone just doesn't sound good. It's harsh and painful to listen to, and it sounds thin. Additionally, there is just this constant digital interference underlying the recording. It's just this constant buzz that makes the recording unusable, in my opinion. It's also really irritating that you can't turn off the zero latency monitoring. I hate that they don't have a standard mount on this thing to mount it to a boom arm, and they don't include an adapter. It has that flimsy microphone stand that picks up every bump of the desk, and it's also stuck at 16-bit. So I have a couple other complaints about this microphone, and the first one is the placement of the polar pattern selection switch on the back. So when you place this down on your desk, chances are you're going to angle it backwards so it's aimed up towards your mouth. And when you do that, the polar pattern selection switch is at the exact right place to go ahead and be hit by the microphone stand. So while you're angling it back, you could be unintentionally changing the polar pattern of this microphone. And the second complaint is really disheartening and upsetting when I realized what was going on. And it's in regards to the digital interference that I've been complaining about. So when you don't have anything open on your computer, you don't have your sound preferences, and you don't have your recording software, there is no digital interference. So while I was monitoring it, I thought it was fixed. But as soon as I opened the sound preferences, the digital interference was introduced again. I closed the sound preferences, the digital interference was gone. Then I went to open up my recording software, and it came back. But honestly, like, how disheartening is that? It's so close to not having that. It's just as soon as you want to actually use the microphone, then it becomes unusable. If you don't want to use it, it works fine. So what are my overall thoughts here? I think that this thing wants really badly to compete with stuff like the Blue Yeti, but in my opinion, it just fails on all fronts. And the reason I say that is the noise floor was unacceptable. The tone of this thing is just painful to listen to. You have to buy a freaking adapter if you want to mount this to any kind of useful microphone stand. And considering what you're getting, they're charging a lot of money. This is pretty expensive considering how competitive the microphone market is right now. So would I recommend it? No. In my opinion, I don't think this microphone is good at all. I think you would be much better off looking at something like the Q2U, the AT2005 USB, the ATR2100 USB, or if you're really dead set on a USB multi-pattern condenser microphone, go with the Blue Yeti. I think it goes on sale for $80 or $90 every now and then, so you could pay $10 more than this and get an exponentially better microphone. Alright guys, I'm done for today. I'm wiped out. I feel like I trashed this thing a bit too hard, but I think all my complaints were justified. But if you enjoyed it, thumbs up. If you hated it, thumbs down. If you want to influence what I review, go to geeksrising.com/podcastage and cast a vote. Want more videos like this? Logo beneath me. Check out the Discord server, link in the description, and I will see you all later. Bye.